Thank you. And I appreciate the work that the GuildIT has done and in bringing me here to talk to all of you. I see some familiar faces and some new faces, which is always good. So I'm going to talk to you about a decade of work in 6 minutes. So be prepared to put on wings. As the slide says, I'm a photographer and author, and I started out with photography in 2008 after I got laid off from my last computer job. And I didn't know what I was going to do next, so I pulled a couple of my loves off the shelf. One was photography, one was meditation. And I started showing my artwork, my photography, as meditative art. I took my first digital photography class in 2008, and I had 2 takeaways from that class. The first was my instructor said I wasn't artistic enough, and I needed to work on that. But I was selling my artwork, so I go, yeah, he's okay with that, but I'm not going to look at that. The other was I made my first book. He said, we're at the end of the class, we're going to create a book. And I'm going, yeah, sure, my work's not good enough, but then I decided halfway through the class that I would create a book. And that was my first experience with creating a book. It was self-published. It was something to try, something new. So from there, I took my photography and meditation and created 2 meditation books with photographs and a 1-sentence meditation to go with it. So I'm still combining my photography and my books. The second 2 books that I did, I was on a search to find out what a 60-year-old could do. And so I found, I think it was 10 women of a certain age. And I created a book called Women of a Certain Age. A lot of them were my friends and family, my mother, my sisters, anybody that would stand still. And I practiced. And so I did that photography book, and it was great fun. Then I thought, well, I've done one on women. I need to give equality here. So I want to do a book of men of a certain age. But what that one turned out to be was both men and women, because I was meeting more and more men and women. So all of this was to explore my world as well as others, and I found 10 inspiring people to be in my book. They all said yes. People like Tom Corbin, and he was like way up here for me at that time. Nedra Bonds, people like that. And I was really excited to have them in the book. But since it was men and women, I didn't want to just name it the same as the other book, so I named it Rebels, Legends, and Icons, because I found them all very inspiring. From 59 and a half, and I used 59 and a half so I could get Tom Corbin in the book, up to 95, which was my mother again. I used my mother. She's been very inspirational for me. So how did I get into the homeless work, which is my last 2 books, and I do have my latest copy on the table back there. I took a walk. Walking is meditative for me. So I took a walk, and I saw a tarp in the park, and there was, I thought it was and this is in Johnson County. I thought it was the Boy Scouts doing their weekend thing. And so I started talking to some people that I volunteered with at a place where they serve hot meals to homeless and a food pantry. And they said, oh yeah, there are people living in those woods. And I'm going, wait a minute. This is Johnson County, the most affluent county in the state. How do we have homeless? And they said, we do have homeless, and they're living in our woods. So I started with the thesis of why do we have homeless? Who are they? Where are they? Do all of them live in the woods? So that's how I got into the homeless work. And I was also inspired by Dorothea Lange and Gordon Parks, because what I was hearing was reminiscent to me of the Depression era. Even though this is the 2000s, 2018, I started in 2014 with my work, and I thought, this still looks like and feels like what the people experienced in the Great Depression. And so I started exploring both of their work and created a photography. First of all, I had to gain the trust of the service organizations because they didn't know who I was. And then I had to gain the trust of the homeless. And I probably need to go on. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm here for. My overall goals are, my books are affordable and they're compact, they're 8x8s, and they have stories as well as photographs. The interviews that I took from the people that I met and their photographs in ambient light, outside, in different places. My photographs weren't as cost effective because I show 22 by 28, and not many people want to buy photographs of homeless.
Do you want to get to your goals on the next slide?
Okay. Yeah, you've seen some of this.
Yeah, let's get to your goals.
So the books, okay. So my goals today are to get money to publish a third book. My third book is going to be about the veterans that are homeless, and to produce a documentary. I've tried grants, and they haven't worked for me. I'm not a grant writer, but I've tried them. So is a grant good for me, or do I need sponsorship? Those are questions that I have. And which social media is best? I use Facebook right now. Don't use Twitter, don't use Instagram. Use email, good old email. Because I find that people communicate different ways. And I want to find new places to show and sell my artwork. I've done a lot of shows with all of my artwork, and I need places that I can sell them now. And if I do sponsorships, how do I get those sponsorships? And how do I enter new markets? And my needs are collaborators, social media help, budgeting for film. I don't know how much it costs to create a film, and I need to make some money. Thank you very much.
We have some questions coming, and one thing I wanted to comment on, as far as film, you might want to look into, there's a couple film groups, they meet once a month, and they can help you with your ideas on film. There's a lot of filmmakers who are just beginning as well as seasoned, and they can give you ideas. A lot of them do grants and sponsorships, a combination of both, and private sponsors or private funders as well. And they can, you know, there's people in the area that are known to them, and they can share that information with you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
And I can send you information on that.
Okay, great.
Other questions?
It's not really a question, but I was just going to offer you a connection. Ash Vanders, she is the Director of Operations at After Action Network, and they work with a lot of veterans, and I think also homeless, so she might be a good person to reach out to and talk to about future exhibits and selling your work and putting together some kind of program with them. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll send you a link to her so you two can connect. But she used to work for Studio Magazine, and she's a great curator and has a lot to offer. So I think that's a good person for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm known to get out and talk to anybody and everybody about the work that I'm doing. So thank you. I'd love to talk to her and hear what she's doing too.
Great. Other questions? Or
You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing things, I can tell.
Thank
I'm
you.
not super familiar with a lot of the work you've done. However, Susanna has spoken highly about you every occasion that we've spoken leading up to this. And know a little bit about homelessness and that there is a great amount of there are quite a few initiatives out there and other individuals that are passionate as you are and putting face on the challenges or issues related to homelessness. Have you found a lot of support from other organizations? Are you looking for ways to tap into not-for-profits that might make it easier to funnel money towards your initiatives?
Great question and great information. Thank you. I have talked to a lot of the standard nonprofits, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, that group of supporters. Whoops. I always think I talk loud enough. I have, but I'm sure there are some that I have not talked to, like this group that was mentioned just a minute ago about people that are working with veterans. So if you have any suggestions.
Not so much a suggestion than a question, or just a free flow conversation with you. How are you a for-profit? Have you set up a not-for-profit?
I'm a for-profit, and I'm doing that consciously because so far I've made that my conscious choice. I don't know about not-for-profit and how I would work that way.
yeah, there's a lot of rules and regulations.
And I'm staying away from rules and regulations right now. I'm a freelance person, and I'm doing great. And I'll mention just real quickly that I just won an award from the city of Olathe. It's a humanitarian award for the work that I've been doing. And one of the kind comments was that I'm not only raising awareness, but I'm finding solutions to the problem.
Now, you mentioned that you're on Facebook, but you're not on Instagram. And to me, I would think as a visual medium, as a photographer, Instagram would be a wonderful place for you. And although it's a square format, so you probably have to fudge around with your editing of it a little bit, but to be able to start gathering followers there. And I know that right now it seems to be the users are maybe a little more active even than on Facebook in terms of for marketing for a business, and also Instagram stories, which might be a little scary at first, which is where you go live and like talk and share kind of like behind the scenes of you and your work. So like if you're out finding subjects, you snap photos of, during your day, and people get really involved in the story behind your work as well. So I really encourage you to
stick my toe in the water. Yeah.
Yeah, because Instagram, you can get followers very quickly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about Instagram. I have a computer background, and I said when I left the computer world, I didn't want to learn another software. Well, I have.
I don't really have advice to offer, but I have a question, which is, are the people you photograph, do you need to get permission from them?
I have a waiver that I have them sign, and they gratefully sign. So.
I'm just thinking in terms of posting pictures, just like that one, for example.
Yeah.
Instagram, you want to make sure that that person agreed to
Yes.
put their image out there.
And I did it for another reason, because I want to treat them with dignity and integrity. And to do that, I feel that I had to ask their permission more than just verbal, but written. And one lady said that she read my first book, and that's why she wanted to be in the second book. And it's a homeless person that frequents the library. So there's a lot of reasons to get a waiver. Thank you for these comments. These are great and very helpful.
Next question?
Or comment?
Yeah, you can even, to learn Instagram, you can even take someone out to lunch and maybe they'll show you how to use it.
I'm thinking, yeah. When do you want to go?
I'm not the person to ask. I just got on Instagram a few months ago.
What about sponsorships? Anybody got any ideas there? I see a light bulb.
I know, well, actually, it was for me. What's the name of that thing? There's a site that artists use that has.
Patreon.
What's that?
Patreon.
Yes, that's
I just know the name Patreon.
it. It's called Patreon. And artists go and I think they share their work. And people go there because they want to support the arts and artists. And so they get people who either do a one-time donation or they sign up to like donate monthly, a small amount. And then you can get either a few patrons or a lot of patrons. And it's Patreon is the name of the website. Yeah.
Actually, I've seen filmmakers use like Kickstarter and such as well. Kickstarter is a very chancy one, but there's other platforms like that where they'll I've seen them raise as much as $30,000 or more towards their film venture. So those platforms are quite common and people do give.
Yeah, there's a comment back there.
I was just going to echo, I think Patreon was a great idea, and I'm glad you brought it up. But I also want to say that I think it's most effective if you decide to go the Patreon route, to when you invite someone to sponsor you, that you send out a personal note rather than, I've had like a blanket thing where a person has not addressed me personally to sponsor them. They've just gone through their Facebook friends list and then sent out a generic request from Patreon. And I think that if you're asking someone to support you in a continuously monthly way, that it's good to really have a good story, to send a personal email when you request it. I think you're going to be better in having people support you in that way. I just thought, since you've never done it, I've never done it either, but I was impressed. Recently, I had a poet send me a really nice personal email, and I did end up signing up for her Patreon site, and it's just $5 a month.
Perfect.
And I think she's probably gaining more sponsors that way, asking for a small amount monthly and building from there. And it does require a lot of follow-up because you get something for that $5 every month. I mean, she is sending out like weekly updates, access to her poetry. She is really active on it. So I think that's one thing that you have to be aware of when you do a program like that you have to have content that you're providing on a regular basis to support that ask. So that would be my only input to it.
Sure.
But I think it's a great idea for what you're doing
Sounds like
because you're raising awareness and you have enough content to support something like that. And I think you would be very successful with that. So that was a really great idea.
Thank you.
You
I'm
might-
loving this.
You might even want to arrange a deal with an exchange with a social media person who can really put you on these platforms and help you with some of the content.
Okay.
But yet, you have a wonderful background to draw from, so it's like you're not doing anything. The film would be new, but you already have a rich history in that area, so.
Thank you.
Can you flip to one of your other slides? And maybe your needs or your goals?
Making money.
So for breaking down film, I'm sure there's templates you can get online. In fact, when I was looking at open spaces, posting projects for that, I found a couple of different templates online for budgeting and for, that involve costs and everything.
Great.
And don't forget about the Johnson County Small Business Center. They have some forms online. They have some business forms online, including some budget ones that,
Oh, okay.
but that you can just download for free.
Yeah.
And then you can always go to make an appointment with one of the counselors to talk to them if you want to, and that's free also.
Great idea. And I forget about them. I'm so busy doing the work sometimes that all this is in my memory bank, so it's good to be reminded. Thank you.
The downtown library, the library system is a wonderful resource because they deal on a daily basis with an extraordinary amount of individuals who are struggling. And
Yes.
if you aren't already working with them, I suspect there might be an outlet or
Yeah.
some ideas as well.
Yeah, I got in touch with Jason Pearl, who does their coffee and conversation, and I adopted that for Olathe and Johnson County. So I am in contact with someone, but I probably need to do a follow-up with him and just revisit.
Yeah, as well as the library has a business librarian.
Oh, okay.
And, Mid-Continent Library has like I think 3 business librarians and do a number of workshops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they just want a copywriting. What about collaborations or ways to get, are you doing anything with university, with UMKC's community university, or
No.
maybe Juco Community College?
No. In terms of looking for business?
Well, in terms of presenting, presenting at community university, also presenting through Juco Community College.
Oh, I haven't.
Their adult classes, or as well as not just adult classes, but their what's that called? Extended outreach or extension classes.
Continuing education. Okay. I got the words for you. Great.
Ways for her to get her book out there. I mean, she's done a fabulous job already. She's for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Do something dramatic.
Well, my last show, I put the photographs of the homeless on the floor. And people, I wanted to see reaction because most people won't even notice. But people did walk around. So that was pretty dramatic for me. But I'd love to hear more about dramatic.
And so we have one more question.
Okay.
Well, you were talking about learning more about Instagram and how you work all this. And I know you spent a lot of time in Interurban Arthouse.
Yes.
Kim Beer, she's a photographer of horses. She did a little workshop on on Facebook marketing there, a couple months ago. But she is a consultant too, and works with artists and photographers in regards to Facebook and Instagram.
Okay,
And she might be a good person for you to reach out to if you wanted to sit down with her and have her tie the two platforms together for you.
okay,
And talk about how you could optimize both platforms. And she seemed great. I loved her little workshop there.
okay, great, thank you.
Because if you post on Instagram, you can get it to post to Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice to tie the two together.
Well, so we're wrapping up here. Do you have any last words you'd like the community to share with the community that we can help rally around as
That's a great question.
any of your needs or anything you'd like to follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me. I have actually two, and I probably need to look at that, two Facebook platforms. One is Energy Photography. That's my business. And then I have my personal, Sharon Rodriguez. And I'm not always clear which to put where when I'm advertising, so I put stuff everywhere. And if you know groups that I could join. But my thought is to never give up and never quit. And even when I'm challenged, it's a learning, and I learned something from everyone, which I have today. Thank you very much.